You guys are doing well. I'm happy to join you once again right here in my office. Today is going to be an exciting time. We're not going to host anybody, but I want to share with you some action quotes in my book. Take action now. Take action now. There's it. So that is my book. Take action now. And I want to share with you today 10 action quotes that you can use right now to transform your life. 10 action quotes. A lot of people have this mentality that they have to read a lot of books to be able to succeed. That is true, but if you've also heard of information overload, if you've ever heard of information overload, a lot of people read a lot of books but have very little time to implement the principles in the books they have read. And so for each of my book, be it the power to become here or the take action now here, all these books, after each chapter, what I do is that I condense it into principles that you can act on right now to change your life. And so these are the principles I want to share with you. I've picked 10 out of them. After each chapter, I picked 10 action principles to share with you. And these are principles that have been tested. They are principles that will transform your philosophy about life, about work, career, and also about money. And so I believe that this is an opportunity for you to get a little bit of what is in my latest book, The Take Action Now. And I believe that as I share these power principles with you, you are going to get something out of it, and it will motivate you to get the whole book to read. It's a life changer. And I believe that as I share, I will try and as much as possible to share some of the power principles with you as time goes on. So the first power principle that we want to share with you tonight is successful school dropouts are self-educated. Successful school dropouts are self-educated. Now, if you've ever heard of anybody that has dropped out of school and has succeeded, these people did not just drop out of school and succeed. They had a plan. They had an objective. And the objective and the plan they had for themselves far outweighed the time they were going to spend in school. Now, schooling, as I always say, is different from education. Schooling is different from education. You can be educated outside the four corners of the classroom, but education can be gotten everywhere. With your laptop, the phone, anywhere you find yourself, you can get access to education, because education is everywhere. You just have to put your mind to it, right? But the schooling is you go to school to get discipline, right? So when you are in school, what do? You are pushed to get up at a certain time, to go to a lecture at a certain time. You are disciplined, all right? You are pushed to be disciplined when you are in school, and in addition to that discipline, you get the education, right? So it is so important to distinguish between the two. If you have something that you are doing, or if you have an emotional reason to drop out of a particular course or a particular program that you are doing in school and pursue something else, right? If that reason is logical, even if it's not logical, if that reason can serve as many people as possible, go do it. Go do it. Because those people who dropped out of school had an emotional and a logical reason to do so. Let's take, for example, one famous entrepreneur that we all know about, most people know about, Sir Richard Branson, the founder of the Virgin Group. He dropped out of school at the age of 16. But he just didn't drop out of school. He dropped out of the school system because he was not fitting in. But also he had an emotional and a logical reason to drop out, right? He had an emotional and a logical reason to drop out. and that reason led him to found the first business he started. That is the magazine, the school magazine, right? And so, without any emotional and a logical reason to fall out of school, I would encourage you to stay, because most people lose sight of the fact that the setting may be different. All right, the setting may be different, and if you are in Africa, certification is king, right? So unless you have a very tangible reason, a very emotional reason to drop out of school, I would advise you to stay there, get the discipline. I said school gives you the discipline. Education can be gotten outside the four corners of the school of the school. You don't necessarily have to be in school to get educated. You are in school to get disciplined, right? And so, unless you have that emotional reason to drop out of school, you should have learned the discipline aspect of education. You must be self-disciplined to drop out. So if you are not somebody who is self-disciplined, who has to have somebody tell you to, hey, go do this, go do that, go do that, then please stay in school, because you would not do well out there unless you have the personal discipline to be able to push yourself outside the four corners of the classroom to be able to succeed. So it is so important to understand the difference between schooling and education. So critical here. All right. So my next point, the next point I would like to share with you is that most people, the people that dropped out of school, right? Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much. All right. So I hope you stay tuned and enjoy the power principles I'm sharing with you today. I'm exclusively sharing power principles in my book, Take Action Now. I'm just sharing some few power principles, and I hope these power principles is going to get you to act, and is going to help change your psychology about work, about school, about education. It's going to transform your personal life. And so that is what I'm just sharing with you. The first principle I just shared was that school dropouts are self-educated. Successful school dropouts. The emphasis here is on successful school dropout. So if you ever heard of somebody who has been hugely successful, who says, oh, he dropped out of school, or these stories are mostly not heard in Africa, but mostly in Europe. But I just want to reiterate the fact that the people who drop out of school and who become hugely successful are self-educators and are self-disciplined. Because the school system is supposed to give you self-discipline. And I continue to maintain that the system, without a system, if you are not self-disciplined, all right, you cannot succeed outside there. All right. So even though you can get education outside the four corners of the classroom, you cannot get self-discipline outside the four corners of the classroom. The reason why you are always pushed to do things in school is to be able to get discipline. For the education, you can get it everywhere, right? With a laptop, with your phone, you can get the education. But the fact is that if you do not push yourself to get a discipline, which only the school system provides, because when you are in school, what you do is you are forced to get up at a certain time. All right, so you are forced to get up. Thank you, Prince, for joining. You are forced to get up at a certain time to push yourself, to go to lectures, to get your training, to do assignment. This gives you the discipline needed to succeed in the world out there. So that is the objective of schooling. Dedication is part of it. But if you hear of somebody like Mark Zuckerberg, who dropped out of Harvard, nobody drops out of Harvard, right? You don't get opportunity to go to Harvard and drop out, right? But he dropped out. The fact is, he dropped out because he had an emotional reason. He had a logical reason to drop out. Michael Dell, who dropped out of Stanford Medical School, had an emotional reason and had a logical reason to drop out. And so if you do not have an emotional reason and a logical reason to drop out, stay in school. Because if you are in this part of the world, if you are in Africa, for instance, certification is king. Unless you have a compelling reason to go out and really do something that would affect huge numbers, the lives of huge numbers of people, stay in school and get your certification, right? So that is it. Now, the third point that I'm going to share with you is that most successful school dropout believe that they were going to pursue a greater thing that was greater than themselves. They were going to pursue something that was greater than themselves, right? And so if what you are dropping out to pursue is not greater than you, stay in school. Whatever vision or whatever product or service you are going to pursue, if it is not greater than you, stay in school, right? Stay in school and get your certification, because a lot of people drop out and mess themselves up, especially in this part of the world, right? And so the story of a lot of people saying this person dropped out and succeeded, that person dropped out and succeeded. Good, they dropped out and succeeded, all right, but these people were self-educators. These people were self-educators. They disciplined themselves to succeed, all right? They disciplined themselves to succeed. Now, if you have the opportunity to do something where the masses will benefit, if you have the opportunity to create a product or services, or a product or service that will serve the needs of greater number of people, do not lose this opportunity. Go do it. Go do it. But make sure whatever you are pursuing, be it a product or service, will serve the need of a greater number of people. Make sure your passion to go out and create a difference is greater than yourself. But until you get to that purpose, until you get to that stage of your life, it will be best to stay in school and get your certification. So I'm going to share subsequently some of the power principles in the Take Action Now in the subsequent episodes that I'm going to run. Hopefully next week I'm going to get a special person to interview on the platform. But the bottom line of what I've shared today is this: if you are pushed to drop out of school, make sure you have something that is compelling enough to pursue. Catch you another time. Bye-bye.